Okay, so I figured I had to shoot this video. It's the middle of the night, it's late, and I know, I look like crap. I'm not worried about it. Here's why. I keep seeing all this stuff online about one for the sun, and I see ads all over the place. Oh, it's for solar, it's for solar. But I'm in a unique position that most people are not, that I know about two different things that are involved here, and I'll fill you in on those. So, to make you understand why my perspective is a little bit unique, let me first explain to you the two reasons. One is I used to work for utility companies, and so did all my family. So we were heavily involved in utility companies. And one of the utility companies, Florida Power and Light, has Turkey Point Nuclear Plant outside of Miami, Florida. It's in Homestead. And Homestead, Florida has their own power plant there, and it's a diesel generator power plant, which has 9 diesel generators. And you would think, well, why does Homestead need a power plant when there's a huge power plant right next door to it in the same city? Well, they don't. The reason why is because FP&L has a monopoly on the area, and when you have a monopoly, there's some kind of utility law that says if you have a monopoly, and of course they own all the poles and all the stuff there, and they have all the rights to put all this stuff in, they come right into your yard and put whatever they want before you even own a house. So you have no choice in the matter, okay? So they have all those rights. So there's a law that says that if someone else creates power, that you have to buy that power back from them, no matter how much they have, no matter how much they create, and you have to buy it back at exactly the same rate as you sell it to them, not as what you make it, as what you sell it to them for. So Homestead Power Plant is in the business of just selling power to FP&L, which FP&L does not need at all. They do not need that little tiny bit of power that comes from that power plant. Well, when I say a little bit, it's a little bit compared to power plant wise, not home wise, okay? So say it would power, say, 100,000 homes, okay? So it's not like a little tiny bit. I said a little bit, but that's really not a good description for people who are not in the power industry. Now, a nuclear plant, which is right there, creates enough power not only for Homestead, Florida, but for Miami, Florida, but for a lot of Florida, and they make so much energy. Matter of fact, they send it all the way up to everything up the East Coast, New York City, Chicago, North Carolina, South Carolina, Washington D.C. They send it all over the United States, all over the Eastern Seaboard, because they make so much power with the nuclear plant. So they don't need that power. But here's the thing. They have to buy it back by law. Now, the first part of this little sentence, it sounds like it's so for you. It says, people are allowed to make solar for their house. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we're allowed to make solar. Well, let me clue you in on something. You're allowed to make solar right now. They're not giving you anything. They're actually taking it away because it says only for their house, which means that you cannot make it and sell it back to somebody else, which also excludes the leasing program, which that's part two, is I'm a marketer, and I was approached by a company years ago that sells solar through a leasing program. And the way they did it was, and they explained this to me, I said, oh yeah, I'd like solar one day on my house, but it's too expensive. And they said, well, that's the beauty of this, because we need to tell people this is what we do. We install the solar panels for free, but they sign a lease that says that whatever their utility bill was, they lock it in at that rate. So if you're paying $200 or $400 a month or whatever it is, you pay that to this company, and all your power is covered, right? And then at the end of the lease, they sell you back all the solar equipment, the batteries, the wires, all the stuff, or whatever. At the end of the lease, because they can't do it beforehand, they sell it to you for $1 at the end, just like a car. Like when you lease a car, they give you the option to buy it back for $1 or whatever, $1 buyback option. So that eliminates that, because you would be creating power for someone else, and so that keeps you from getting it. So that completely eliminates all these companies that are trying to come into Florida and trying to put solar panels on people's houses for free, and then say, okay, here's what it is. You lease it from us, and you can have the stuff for free. So that eliminates it. Now, that's the two unique perspectives. Now, the second sentence in this one for the sun, it's for you, vote yes for one for the sun, and you can look all this stuff up. All this stuff you can go verify. The second part is it says that they don't you don't have to subsidize any. You can't. I forget how the wording was. I don't have it right in front of me. But anyways, no one else has to pay for your solar, right? So in other words, that stops the leasing companies. Okay. But the second thing is it's saying that that you don't that the Florida that the power companies, that nobody else has to pay for you to hook up power to your house and have electricity hooked up to your house. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the electric companies, before you even bought your house, before you even moved in, before you even got your certificate of occupancy in the state of Florida, which you have to have, you already had electric power hooked up to it. And they built it into their model, okay? So they already ran the wires there. It was already paid for when you bought the house, okay? So they're trying to tell people, oh, you won't be paying for other people's solar to be hooked up. Well, you're not paying for it now, and you never have been. It's a falsehood that they just sold you, okay? So that's nonsense. But what they did try to do is last year they passed a law in Florida, and it was that anybody who doesn't have electric power hookup, aka solar power, if you guys get solar power, then you have to pay $30 a month to FPNL or the whichever company is in your area. There's like 7 or 8 power companies in Florida, but FPNL is the biggest one. But there's, like Tampa Power, and then there's one Orlando Power, and a couple other little ones around there. But, and Duke, and I forget the other, there's like a few more. But anyways, so the point is that they say, okay, we don't have to do it, so they want to charge people. So they want to charge people for not having their service. Well, I wish to God that I had a company where I could just say, everybody in the whole state has to pay me for not having my business. For not doing business with me, you have to pay me $30 a month. Why? Because you don't do business with me. You're already a monopoly. You already have all the money. Why are you trying to steal? So, if you think that this law is for you, you're wrong. They're selling you on the idea, and they're making it so simple. It sounds like it's good for you, but really, it keeps you from having solar power. It keeps you from having solar power cheap, and it creates more barriers for you. And when you get solar power, they are not forced to buy it back from you. Right now, they're forced to. That's why they didn't just pass a law for this. They wanted to put it in the Florida Constitution. Well, do we really need something in the Constitution? Well, if you take away people's rights, you do need it in the Constitution. So where do you think they went to go pass this constitutional amendment for the Florida Constitution for solar power for everyone? You already got solar power. You can already have solar power. They're not giving you anything. They're taking away from you. If you think this is not true, go look it up. The Huffington Post and a lot of other companies have done all kinds of research that showed this bill was put forth by the power companies and their lobbyists. And trust me, they don't do stuff because they want to help you. They're not in the business of helping you. They're in the business of making money and taking money out of your pocket. That's their job. So, if you think it's for you, look it up. Check the facts. See if I'm wrong on some of this. But this is really something that most people should vote no for. Unless you're one of the power companies and you're, one of the, main owners, this bill doesn't help you at all. And anybody who says it does is lying to you because they have a vested interest in it, or they're an idiot. They've just been fooled and duped by the companies. So, a perfect example is if you think they're there to help you, well then think about this. They built a solar power plant, and they said, we built this great solar power plant in St. Pete, Florida. Cost us, I don't know, $100 million or something to build, Well, that's nice. Wow, that sounds like you did a great thing. Oh, wait, I just saw an article that says that you dodged, I think it was like $4 billion in taxes by making that solar power plant. So not only did you make a power plant that cost you, I don't know, $100 million to make, which makes solar power, and you get to keep selling solar power to everybody for free. You get it from the sun. It doesn't cost anything once you put the cost of the plant in there. But you didn't pay your taxes on like $4 billion that Florida needed. Do you think they're for us? No, they're not. They're for themselves. So when somebody tries to tell you, oh, this is great for you, you need to vote for it, you look at where the money's coming from. Look it up and find out who's paying for all this stuff. $10 million in ads that the solar rights in the Constitution. No, it's to take away your rights.